Yo, what's up everybody? This is Damron with Trash Ass Gamers, bringing you another veteran dungeon guide for Elder Scrolls Online. This is for White Gold Tower, which is a pretty difficult dungeon, part of the Imperial City DLC, as such is found inside the Imperial City of Cyrodiil. This dungeon does have a few pretty tricky bosses that do give people trouble, but hopefully I'll show you some strategies to make it a little easier. As all these videos, I will keep these dungeon playthroughs complete. I'll fast forward through the ads to speed it up, but I want you to know where we are and how we got there. And I'll also point out anything along the dungeon that I think is important, and obviously focus mainly on the strategies for the boss battles. But this dungeon is a really cool dungeon, I think, has some pretty cool mechanics, and again has that Cold Harbor type feel. So the first boss we come up on is the Iron Swath Glutton. He's not really that tough of a boss, kind of a mini boss, just like a really modified flesh Atronach really. You don't really need to do anything special for him. As long as the tank can hold aggro so you're avoiding the heavy attacks, you're not going to have really much trouble taking him down. So sometimes the tank will hold him just facing the door, but honestly it doesn't matter. He doesn't really do that much damage that you need to worry about as long as the tank is absorbing those heavy attacks. Now he will spawn in some AoEs, which you see there, and those will certainly hurt you if you're standing in them, but as you can see he doesn't really have that much health. So we'll meet at the next boss, which is just inside this door here. Alright, so next up, you can see this spider Daedra like harvester boss called the Agitator. You want the tank to run to the top of the stairs and basically have the boss facing the top of the stairs. That's going to minimize the kind of flame AoEs that she will put on the ground, in a sense that the other players won't really need to avoid them because she'll be shooting them up the stairs. And periodically through the fight, these little slaves will spawn in. And the longer you take, the harder it is because as you kill those slaves, the towers on the side of the area will shoot balls of flames at you. And periodically she'll also throw you into a cell in which you'll have to break out. Now I have a thief ability high, so I'm able to just unlock that cell by forcing it immediately. But if you don't have that, make sure you cast a heal on yourself before you go into unlocking it so you don't burn to death while you're unlocking it, because there will be some flames at your feet. But she's not too hard of a boss. Now, we are running this with 3 DPS and 1 tank, which I do recommend. The bosses in this dungeon are much easier if you're going to roll with 3 DPS. So that boss in particular, you see we only had 1 jail phase, and a minimal amount of ads came into the fight. So you just take her to the top of the stairs and burn her down. So let's move on. Alright, so we're going to get to see an Elder Scroll in this room as we fight our next boss, which is 3 bosses: Cordius Pontifio, Micella Carolinus, and the Empress Regent. 3 humanoid bosses that you will fight after the Elder Scroll explodes. Now this fight can be a little tricky if you're a vampire, because there's going to be a lot of flame damage going around. But overall, this fight's not too bad because these guys, individually don't have too much health. So I definitely like to get everybody to focus on one person at a time, particularly Micella Carolinus, as you can kill her very quickly and get her off the board. And then the other 2, I like to just stack them together and try to burn them simultaneously. But as you can see, the attacks that you need to avoid, Cordius, he's going to have an AoE that surrounds him that causes flame damage, and that can be something that can really cause a lot of damage if you're just standing inside of it. And he will also shoot flames out, which is kind of like a octagon directional flames that shoot out on the ground. Just make sure you stand out of the way of those and you should be okay. But as you can see, they both have AoEs around their feet. that really can cause a lot of damage if you're standing in them. But again, if your DPS is good and you can just stack those last two together, that fight's not too bad. Alright, so we got our next little mini boss coming up here. You'll see this Scion of Wrath falling out of the sky, which is essentially a dragon. Not very difficult at all. He doesn't have much health. He is a mini boss. He does drop some flame OEs on the ground, and right there you'll see. And the longer this fight takes, the more of those that are going to be in your way to damage you. But he doesn't have much health, so he's probably not going to give you much trouble. Just have him face the gate and burn him down, and then we're going to go through the gate onto the next boss. Now we're going to talk about this boss in a couple ways, because I'm going to show you how much easier this is with 3 DPS. We're going to go up there and we're just going to burn him down, hold him in the same spot. Whoever gets these portals, which happens to be me, you're going to want to shoot them while your other 2 DPS maintain DPS on him while you're taking out the portals. Now if you don't take out the portals, adds will spawn in, and eventually ogres will spawn in if you do not kill them. And really all it takes is like one poison shot to take the portal out before any adds spawn through it. And in fact, you'll get an in-game achievement if you beat the planar inhibitor without adds spawning in. Now this is how you burn this boss quickly. Now if you cannot burn her before she goes into the blue phase, which is the next phase of the fight, which you won't actually see here, then someone will have to grab that middle pinion, and whoever has that middle pinion, she will focus her attention on. So the tank will want to be on one side of the room, she'll go into blue phase, someone else will grab the pinion and run to the other side of the map, and she will slowly make her way to you, and as she gets close, if she touches you in the blue phase, you'll instantly die. So as she gets close to that other person, the tank will re-grab the pinion, go back to the other side of the map, and she'll mosey on back over there, and by that time she'll go back into the orange phase. So if your DPS is not fast enough, then you may have to do that mechanical part of the fight, which is why I highly recommend you take 3 DPS into this dungeon if you can, because you can really burn her down faster that way, and you won't have to worry about it. Alright, so let's move on to our final boss, Malekina. And as we go through here, we'll of course destroy our obelisk tomb, so we go into hard mode. And there's a few things you need to know about this fight to make it a little easier. The first thing that you'll see her do is spawn this lightning attack that basically rotates around the map, and it's not too hard to avoid. It doesn't really do much damage unless you're standing right in it. In fact, you can roll through it if you need to, so keep that in mind. You definitely don't want to just stand in it, because it does cause a lot of damage pretty fast. And the best place to hold her is right in the middle. Obviously that makes it easier to rotate around with this lightning. Now she will do a conical attack in front of her, as you saw there, and if you get hit by that, that will knock you down. And one of the reasons we want to hold her in the middle is because if you're near the edge and she hits you with that and knocks you back into the fire that you can see around the map, then that will instantly kill you. So let's make sure we're holding her in the middle. And then 2 times throughout the fight, she'll spawn these adds.
and basically she'll be invincible until you kill them. Now when you take these ads down, you'll see that they'll basically explode. If you're inside that AoE when that explodes, that will also likely kill you. And until you kill all of them, she'll be invincible, and she'll be launching these little electricity balls on the ground all directions. And you need to avoid that because again, those will knock you back, and if if you hit the back wall, you'll die instantly. Another thing you'll see her do is she'll basically spawn a lot of these electrical balls that just kind of float around the map, as you see there. And those obviously will stun you a little bit and cause some damage, but you know, you don't really need to focus too much on those. And when she does that, she'll also spawn storm atronachs onto the ground, and sometimes they will slowly walk towards her, and if they get close enough, they will explode and pretty much kill you if you're close to them as well. The Storm Atronach you saw there was actually a friendly, but she can spawn them in as well. And then after that second phase, you really just want to execute her. So there's an enemy Atro. If he gets close enough and see he was about to explode, that can definitely kill you. And again, 3 DPS is going to make this fight a breeze. You're going to blast through her and not have to worry too much about these mechanics. So let's look at the Monster Helm, which is the Malekina set. This is a damage set. It's going to give you weapon or spell damage depending on what you do. And then if you deal damage with 2 light attacks, you'll get Overkill, which further will increase your damage. Not too bad of a set, but people prefer more damage-based sets than this one, but it's not bad. So if this video helped you guys out, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.